This is RIFF Radio, a presentation of RIFF Magazine Online, your source for music news, interviews, and concert reviews from the Bay Area and beyond. Find more at riffmagazine.com. I am Mike DeWald. On this episode, we chat with Winona Fighter. Formed in Nashville by way of Boston, the band looks to create community through punk rock, just the way it did in Music City. The band's debut album is My Apologies to the Chef. Winona Fighter will also hit the road in the new year with a stop at Cornerstone in Berkeley. We welcome Winona Fighter to RIFF Radio. Let's talk a little bit about kind of the origin story of the band. You're from Boston, and did you all meet in Tennessee, though? Is that sort of the catalyst for the band? How did the process of everyone coming together?
So Chloe and I met on Craigslist, actually.
Really?
Unbelievably.
Wow.
We were actually had answered a call for somebody else's band, me playing guitar, Chloe playing drums, and we got about half a rehearsal in, and we're like, this ain't it. Let's sneak away and do something else. So quickly after that, Chloe's like, why don't we work on some of my stuff? I'm like, that sounds so much better.
Yeah, we hit it off like right away. And then I moved to LA for a little bit, and that's where I met Austin. And we had been like writing stuff for Winona Fighter, and then it just kind of naturally like folded into the picture.
Yeah, I was like, I'll play bass for you guys.
We were like, we didn't ask.
That's cool. I'm here. I already got my bass. It's cool.
It's okay. We have this Craigslist post. It's all going to work out.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, and I think I've read a quote from you that you got a lot of your influence from Boston, and going to Tennessee, there wasn't really a punk scene there, so you brought that to Nashville. Is that what was kind of the mindset with that in sort of setting your kind of charting your musical course?
Yeah, I just felt like the scene in Boston was such a communal thing. And it was like a nice escape, and I think Nashville was like a major shell shock because you hear like Music City, and country, it's like country music, but I think when I moved there in 2015, it was really just country music. Yeah. It's not like the melting pot it is now. Yeah. I was like, well, someone's got to do it. So, I just felt like it was important to create that sense of community that I loved, and I think we've done a pretty good job over the years of keeping our heads down and creating something that we're really proud of, and I feel proud to relate to the scene that I grew up in.
So new single, Swear to God I'm Fine, is great. It's dealing a lot with kind of anxiety, things you were going through, I think personally and professionally. Kind of what was kind of your headspace in writing that song?
I was feeling rather stressed for a very long time, and just dealing with some personal life things. But at the same time, we had just signed a record deal with Rise. We were about to go on the road with Bayside. The band was blowing up and
filming music videos and doing all sorts of stuff. Yeah,
like the dream was happening, and so, but personally, I was just like going through it, I think mentally, and I was really struggling I was like, well, if I'm going through it personally, then that means I'm not grateful for all the good stuff happening with the band, or I'm not happy about what's happening with the band, and so it was just this really like tug of war with myself that I like recently, no, that's not the case. You can be happy and excited for all the great stuff going on in your life and all the great people in your life, but you're still allowed to be human and like feel things.
How did you all sort of process that individually? You put in so much work at this, and you a lot of all the effort, blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it, and then you're signing a record contract, and you're in the studio, and you're shooting videos. What does that change like to have that kind of 180 and be sort of in that space?
Partly, I'm still waiting for it to hit me. I'm kind of like wake up like one day gonna think like, oh my God. I mean, it has been nice. I think partly the great thing has been really gradual. I mean, people talk about like overnight success, or like, wow, you guys just kind of blew up all of a sudden. But I mean, we really have been at this for quite a long time. And so there's been a lot of times where we've been playing for like 0 people, and then there's 5 people that show up, and then there's 10 people that show. So it's like there's been a lot of that, which has been nice, and I think has kind of made it easier, at least for myself, to like feel like this is normal, if that makes sense.
I feel like there are like moments of validation because we're like very DIY. We started very DIY and still are very DIY. Like we recorded our record ourselves, like self-produced it, like I mixed it and everything. And so having those moments where it's like, oh, this is like working. It's like, oh, that feels really awesome. But also I know like the work has just begun in a way too. So yeah, it's just been like kind of a whirlwind.
Yeah, very like fulfilling. Like to both of Dan and Austin's points, we've been grinding for so long and not, basing our success off of getting like a viral video on social media or anything. We've really just been, okay, let's like hop in the van, just us and the drummer, and let's play as many shows as possible and make lifelong fans. And it's been years and years and years of that, and a lot of blood and sweat and tears, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And it makes the surreal things like signing a deal and getting to play these major festivals, I think, even that much more rewarding for us.
I was going to say, playing a show like Aftershock, you probably see it after you play your set. You have people commenting on Instagram or whatever. I saw your set. Kachi was great, and just that momentum keeps growing and growing and building and building. And then when you come back, they're all seeing the next show, and it just keeps building on top.
Absolutely.
And now I typically never ask about band names and where they came from, but we do have a local tie here. Winona Ryder is from Petaluma, where we're from. So it's just down the road. It's not very far away. So I will ask in this case where the name came from.
Yeah, we were, trying to think of something for months. Like I will say, coming up with a band name is probably one of the hardest things you like to do. And so, yeah, I just like throwing stuff at the wall for months and months and months. And then one evening, I was like hanging on the couch, maybe a little stoned, and I was like thinking of bands like the Dandy Warhols and like people that have like done spins off of celebrities and stuff, and I was like, has anyone done anything with Winona Ryder? Is Winona Fighter cool? And Chloe was like, I don't know, and I'm like, all right, well, back to the drawing board. And then like the next morning we went on a hike, and I was like still thinking about it. I'm like, is Winona Fighter cool? And then you had written it out to like look at it, and you were like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's like the perfect balance of aggressive and like feminine, which I think describes all of us.
And I feel like it could be like it could be like an alias or a stage name. It could be a band. It has like, it's just like I think it's a good
mystique to it.
Yeah.
I love that the very much a stoned musing. The very first thought is that's very, very funny. For fans who are looking for kind of the next album,
it's going to be something that only the three of us touched and worked on, and it's going to be a good debut for fans, new fans, and a good I think it's just a fun album for the old fans too.
It's gonna rock your fucking world.
Yeah, it's great. It sounds like you're able to sort of keep that DIY mentality to the band. Was that important to kind of to have that be sort of a defining part of when you're creating music?
Totally. It was like pretty bizarre. You think band signs to a label, and then the label's like, oh, let's get you in with this producer and let's book this studio and do this thing. But Rise, they're awesome. They were just like, all right, you guys go do what you do best, which is doing it by yourself, and just let us know when it's done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like, I feel like that's a rarity now, to have that kind of freedom.
I agree. I also think that like it's cool to see an evolution of a band. Like if you listen to a band's first, like Queens of the Stone Age first record versus like what they put out like last year or whatever, there's such an arc to like how it sounds, how it feels and stuff. And I think that evolution is like cool to see too. So yeah, maybe we'll do like, the next record might be DIY too, and then maybe we'll go to the studio. I don't know.
It's just, I think too, it's really comfy. It's nice when it's just like the three of us, we're all friends. So it's not like, hello, Austin, my business associate.
Everyone shows up to the studio in suits and clocks in.
It's like, what's up? And then we'll, hey, let's do a couple of guitar tracks. And then it's like, cool, time for a beer? Sounds great. Then we'll just hang out. So I feel like that part of it has kept it really light, because sometimes the studio, just as like you're trying to get stuff and make it sound as great as possible, it can get frustrating on yourself or stuff like that. So the fact that between the three of us we're all friends and keep it light that way makes it so easy and just like a pleasure to be in the studio.
And it's like, I think the fear with signing to a label from being like a DIY punk band for so long, it's like you don't want to like start releasing stuff and people being like, oh, this doesn't sound like them. That's like they totally sold out, and that's not our situation at all. And I think we're very like proud of that, and proud to be able to be with a label and a team in general that allows us to stick to what we do best and we've done all along.
Now, as much as you can say, this is the end of it, kind of the end of the touring year for you. It's I would assume a big 2025 of hitting the road, getting out, playing shows.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're gonna play 10,000 shows in 2025.
Double it. 20,000.
3 a day. They do some double headers. You got plenty of time.
Yeah.
We did South by Southwest in March, and we did one day we did 4 shows in a day.
Something like that.
4 shows?
We did like 2 in Austin, and then we drove to Fort Worth to play like at midnight or something. And it was a long day. Bizarro day. But yeah, lots of shows, and maybe even going across the pond a little bit. I don't know. Oh.
Things to look out for.
Whoops.
But thank you so much for taking a few minutes. Go out, kill it today. Have a great set, and
Thank you.
And good luck down the road.
Thanks for having us.
Our thanks to Winona Fighter. Look for the new album, My Apologies to the Chef, as well as the Yes Chef Tour, coming to Cornerstone in Berkeley at the end of February. And as always, check out riffmagazine.com for more. For Riff Radio, I am Mike DeWald.